Ma'am, she's a certified professional life coach with the Academy of Modern Applied Psychology USA, and she has started post graduation in merchandising and BA in sociology. And her coaching sessions are often described as inspiring, energetic, and transformative. Life coaching fulfills Seema Ma'am's purpose to help others become empowered in their lives, to see their own radiance and hear their own inner guidance. Ma'am is passionate about life coaching and supporting coaches in training as they develop their mastery and bring their gifts to the world. So, with these words, I would like to hand over to Ma'am, and I would like Ma'am to start with the session. So, welcome, Ma'am, and please start with the session as all of our participants are eagerly waiting to listen from. Thank you, Ma'am.
And thank you so much for having me here, and a very warm welcome to all of you for my session, and a very good afternoon. Sorry for the delay because of the technical problems today. Let's not waste our time because we are already running late on this. So I'll just start with my presentation now. Okay, so I would like to share my PPT with you all. Can you all see my PPT?
Yes, ma'am, it is visible.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so let's start. So what exactly is leading with psychological safety? When we say leading, leading is the person who leads a team. So basically, this leading is with the leaders that needs to have this kind of passion to lead the team, the people, with a feeling that they are psychologically safe when they are with them in the organization or anywhere else. So here is my session with the leading with the psychological safety, and I hope people will enjoy it. Since we are running late, I'm sorry, I'm just going to catch up with the time allotted with me. So what exactly is psychological safety? So if you know what exactly is psychology, if you don't know what exactly is, so if I just say it on a layman language, psychological safety is defined as being yourself like how you are. So who started it? There was this lady called Amy Edmondson who was working as a nurse in an organization in a hospital, and she realized that psychological safety was one thing which was missing in the organization, in the companies, where people were not feeling safe to be themselves. They were just pretending to be somebody who they are not. So basically she has actually made a definition for this being what is psychological safety. She says that a shared belief held by members of a team that the team is safe for interpersonal risk taking. And here you can see that there's a definition also on this, that being able to show and employ oneself without fear of negative consequences and self image, status, or career. So this is the definition which I've shown here about what exactly is psychological safety. So to explain a little further on this, I would like to show you one slide. Okay, this is about feeling safe. What is feeling safe now? There are a lot of ways you feel safe. Like, you feel physically safe. How do you feel physically safe? Like, you're crossing a road and you see on both sides, if the car is coming or a scooter is coming or any vehicle is coming, and you make sure that you are safe, and then you cross. So this is like, you are physically trying to save yourself. But are you psychologically, mentally safe or not? Are you safe? Do you feel safe? Or do you feel that, no, I'm not safe, in your because supposedly uh, something happens in your life. It is not something that somebody has hit you or somebody has hurt you physically, damaged you, but it is quite possible that some person in your life, it could be anybody, has damaged you mentally. So in your subconscious mind, it is there, that incidence is there where somebody hurt you so badly. It is there in your subconscious mind. That hurt is very much deep. So I'll give you an example about how this happens, the psychological safety thing. I'm a life coach, so I got a call from a lady. she's from a small town. She said she just called me. She just messaged me and said, I need to speak to you. I said, okay, fine. We'll speak next week on this is this date. So she said, no, I want to speak to you. It's a little urgent. I said, okay, fine. We'll talk tomorrow about it. So when we talked, she was very much concerned about the shifting of there from one city to another, and her daughter was around 14 years 15 years of an age, and she was very much concerned how will she settle in a new school being a teenager. So she was like, coming up with all these kind of things, what will happen, people will bully her, the girls are going to say something to her or maybe tease her or something. So she was like, quite hyper about it. So I asked her, the only thing I asked her, has something like this happened with you? To which she was like silent, and then she said, yes, something like this has happened to me. So she was basically assuming the same thing will happen to her child, whereas her child was not feeling that, but she was feeling that. So it means that this hurt that happened to her in her school time, sometime 25 years back, was in her subconscious mind, and given the incidents, it just came up, it just came up to her mind, and she started feeling unconscious. This triggered her mind, that yes, this might happen with my daughter as well. So what basically, she was psychologically not safe in the environment where she was studying. This is the difference between being physical safe and being basically being mentally safe wherever you are. So if we are just present with you advertisements, two advertisements I'm showing here. If you could read that, I hope you people can read that for a minute. So yeah, the first one is about a groom who's looking for a bride, and he wants a girl to be a science graduate but should adjust as a housewife. So if this is very particular, that the groom has written that they want this way. How do you feel about it? How do you think, is this right, or is it like, something that parameters have been set that you have to be this, then only you are eligible to get married, or you're not? Then the second one, there's a job opening of a marketing head. So he must be more than 40 years or 15 years of experience. Very good. Should achieve all targets. Very good. I'll do it. I can do it. I am very good at it. Yeah, I'm okay to travel. But then what? No, I'm a female. Why only male? I'm very much capable of doing what I'm doing. So why only male? So this kind of things triggers you. It stays in your subconscious mind that I was being rejected before even applying for a job which I can do in a much better way. So basically, I'll tell you that psychological safety is basically on standing on four factors. So what are these four factors? The first one is diversity. The second one is equity. Third is inclusion. And the fourth is belonging. We all know about diversity. We all know what diversity means. So I will just tell you a few details in my next slides. So we all know what diversity is. Equity is the second thing. Basically, most of the companies are already following diversity and equity. But inclusion and belonging is something which is basically missing. So I'll tell you something. If you ask somebody in an IT company, what is your dream job? Where do you want to work? They will come up and say that they want to work in Google. Most of the time, this will happen. So if this happens, you know that the person is too much interested in working in a company like Google. Why? Why only Google? Because Google is the first company who started practicing psychological safety in the work culture. So when the work culture has the psychological safety in place, people are very happy working there. So if you have 24 hours in a day, 8 hours you sleep, remaining 16 hours. In the 16 hours, 8 hours you are already spending in workplace. So your workplace should be your second home. You should be happy working there. You should, the organization, the leaders, the CEOs, everyone should make sure that the employee under them are very much happy and safe working in the same organization with them. So this is what psychological safety is. So if we talk about diversity, we all know what diversity is. It can be, geographical, regional, gender based, or anything, and it is very important. Supposingly you have a daughter who is young and she gets a job in a company where it is a male dominating company. So you ask your daughter, how many girls are working with you, or how many girls are there in your team. She comes up and says, mama, only two. Only two? I'm little, I'm not sure whether you should be working there, or is it okay to work there? There has to be some kind of, more girls, then it is okay, otherwise leave the job. So at that time, money is not the criteria. The criteria is that yes, she should feel safe and secure in that environment. That is why a lot of company has now come up with the basic thing, that the diversity, which already a lot of companies are following diversity in their organization. So uh, as you can see, there are groups with when you have diversity, the people are coming from different backgrounds, different cultural backgrounds, different religion, different origin. So when a lot of people come out from different various places, they make the world culture more innovative. How? Because everybody has their own idea, everybody has their own experience. So when they share their experience and when they talk about it, they understand, okay, this is also possible, that is also possible. So we learn about different religion and things. Okay, now we talk about equity. What is equity? Equity is not equality, first of all. So if you see the picture on the right side of the screen in my PPT, you can see two pictures. One says equality and the other says equity. What is equality? So if you see the first picture, you will see three people standing to watch a match, a football match, and they all are provided with a box, right? So when they are provided with a box, and they have the company has, supposedly they are working in a company, so company has given them what? The basic thing. What is that? The ticket to go and see the match, and the second is the stool for all three of them. So that is equality. So in the sense means company has given equal things to everybody. Now what is equity? Equity is different. Equity means that the three people have got the basic thing they need to watch the show. So the girl who needs two boxes, so the boy who is standing there does not need any box. He can give his box because he is very much capable to watch the show standing. So he gives the box to the girl, and the lady on the wheelchair has got an extra privilege to have that thing. But this is not a luxury. Please understand, this is the basic need given to the person who needs that. It is not a luxury. So this is equity. So basically, supposingly you are working in a company, in an organization, and you have a problem of anti-glare in your eyes, which means that when you look at the screen, everything looks little glared or something. What do we do? The company provides you with a special screen which has anti-glare, and this is not an luxury for you. This is a necessity that you needed, so that you are paired with the people who can visually see things much clearer, and you can perform at that level to them in comparison. So this is what equity is. So equality is about sameness, when you get everything same, whereas equity is about fairness. How much fair are you while working with other people and accommodating them in your organization? Now, inclusion is very important. Inclusion is very important. Inclusion means that you feel that yes, I am the part of this company and I feel included. If you see inclusion, inclusion is us, you and me in the same team, working for the same agenda, working in the same goal, and we are working together, we are in it together. So that kind of feeling, generating that kind of inclusion among the people is very important. Individuals should be comfortable sharing his or her feedback, thoughts, or whatever they want to share. So inclusion is like, sometimes people don't feel included in their workplace because they are bent to feel that yeah, you are not part of us. Or in schools and in organizations, they make teams like, I we come from a same background, so they make that kind of team that you don't belong here, or the feeling of that you don't belong here. So that is not right. So that is what we come to conclusion when it comes to inclusion. You are included, you are in the team, you feel that you are a part of team. That is what inclusion is. Inclusion is a process. Basically, inclusion is a process of creating environment that involves and respects people and value all individuals in order to respect their unique qualities. Like, yeah, you have this quality, okay, fine, you feel included, you feel, yes, you create an inclusive environment so that the person is psychologically safe. He feels that, yes, I'm safe. Have you ever come across across a decision where you are there in the team, and you know that whatever the person is saying might not be right, but you don't say anything, you don't voice your ideas and opinions, because you think that that doesn't matter to them. Even if I tell them that this is wrong, you just keep quiet. You're like, okay, fine, I don't want to say anything, because you know that your manager might not like it. And if you would perhaps also realize that decisions reached by such teams would, it will might create some kind of conflict of interest or conflict of opinion, which you don't want to unnecessarily get into this kind of decision. A true successful team can bounce ideas off each other, help solve issues, bring crazy insights. You can just talk and strengthen action plan. So one defining characteristics of such team is that they do not shy away from challenging each other's thoughts and opinions. Conflicts is in a positive manner, not mean-minded or personal. In such team is viewed as good thing. It should not be like, you are feeling that if it is not happening, then you are lacking psychological safety. If people are not comfortable sharing their ideas, their views with you, then it means that you have not created a psychological safe environment in your organization. So this is what inclusion is, but we will be talking about inclusion a little more in detail now. Next is belonging. Now, belonging is very personal. Belonging happens when there's a radical inclusion, when people feel psychological safe, and inclusion to the degree that they do not feel that their differences are respected and accommodated, but they're actually celebrated. So this need a high degree of employee trust and engagement in their organization, which directly impacts organizational success. Belonging is very much personal. See, in the sense, means I'll give you an example. Uh, you go to your sister's place or you go to your brother's place. You How comfortable are you to go to their kitchen or pick something and eat it without even asking anybody, because you feel that this is my second home, I belong here, this is my home. But there could be chances that you have a sister or a brother or your relative where you go and you just ask everything before eating, or you might not even ask, you would not even care to ask, because you know that this is not being considered as good, because you're not comfortable with them. So that is what belonging is. So belonging is very personal, and it is very different for every individual. You might be feeling different, the other person might be feeling different. It is not necessary. Please note that it is not necessary that belonging has to be same as for everyone. So belonging can be, so if you see this diagram that I have put here, working and worrying. So when a person feel belonged, that yes, I belong to these people, or yes, they are my people, and I'm very comfortable with them, then there is no worrying. But if you are not comfortable, believe me, you will always be worried inside, that I don't know whether I'm welcomed or not, or how will they treat me, or is it right to do something like this. Well, this is how it goes. Now, if we come to the next slide, this is a very good example of differentiating between diversity, inclusion, and belonging. So, what is diversity? That you are being invited, you are given a card to come to the party. That is being diversity in the sense, means you are being, you are also given the chance and equity or diverse, you doesn't matter where you come from, where you live, what you do. Yes, we call you in a marriage function or something. What is inclusion? Inclusion is that when people are telling you, oh, come on, join us, dance, come to the floor, let's dance. That is inclusion. And what is belonging? When you yourself feel like, yeah, I am the part of this marriage, or I'm the part of this party, I have to dance because this is my party, my people. So that is what belonging is. So I hope I'm very clear about what diversity, inclusion, and belonging means. If you have any questions, please put it on the chat box. We'll discuss about it later. 1 second, let me have a water, please. A sip. Okay. So now how do we implement inclusion at workplace? Now this is very important. ये तो पता चल गया. We know that what inclusion is. But how do we go about it? How do we involve people in at our workplace? How do we tell them that yes, this is important, you are important, your everything is important, you mean to us, and you have to be there. So as we have learned now till now that the inclusion is a process that welcomes, respects, values, supports, and includes efforts to respect their unique qualities. So to create an inclusive environment, you need to have psychological safety in place. Now, psychological safety is as we have already discussed. It has been discussed by Amy Abramson. That means that there is a shared belief among team member that they are safe for the interpersonal risk taking. It means with unity in environment, team members feel comfortable proposing new ideas without a fear of judgment. They feel safe saying what they think is right. They might disagree with something, and they know that it's okay to make mistakes. So it in the sense means, yeah, I think so. There's some proposal going on, and the person says that I think that we need to change this. Maybe we need to do something differently. And it is not that he's thinking in his mind, he's actually saying it to his manager, to his colleagues, which means that he is comfortable sharing his thoughts, his views with others. That is what is called that you have implemented inclusion at your workplace where people feel safe to say what they want to say. It means with unity in environment, team members feel comfortable proposing new ideas without fear of judgment. They feel safe saying what they think is right. They might disagree, but that's okay. So what does it look like when there is no psychological safety in the team or in an organization? What's the risk? Well, we have all heard what happens when things go really wrong in a company, when money comes involved, and there's some costly mistakes that has happened in the customer, happened, and it has impacted the customer and the society. So generally in a small group of company, desire profit overdoing it, as a result go wrong. In a small company, they think that yeah, in a small less time I want to do something which is like which will give me a huge lot of money in one go. So people tend to do that. So sometimes these employees have a stand and they say what went wrong, but most of the time in such cases the employees are being silent. They are like, no, you don't have any say, you don't want to say, we are not asking you anything. So because they know that what they will say, the employees are not empowered to speak. They can't say what they want, they can't voice their experience. Whereas if a company follows a psychological safety, they know that it is okay to raise our voice, to make mistakes, to come and tell our views, what we and give a constructive feedback. A constructive feedback is very important. So like I'll tell you example about Pixar. We all know we see Pixar movies, Toy Story, Nemo, and all that stories. It is one of the most successful company till date, all the times. So they consistently give hit after hit, but they're not succeeded by just luck. It's not that they're doing it all by just by luck. In their work culture, they talk about the concept of ugly babies. What are ugly babies? Ugly babies are ugly ideas which turn into an innovative and constructive new ideas. What does that mean? Somebody says something that is like, no, this is not working. So they talk about those ideas, but that ideas are not good. But then sometimes those ideas become constructive and they become innovative. They tend to do something, that happens, that that idea becomes an ugly baby, and but that idea really works when they start doing it. It works. So bad idea that turns into an innovative work is, in their work culture name Pixar, is called ugly babies. Not all ideas are very good, some are really bad. But since Pixar is built to trusting and psychological safe work culture employee and empowered to give open and give feedback, they are comfortable sharing. Maybe their idea is ugly baby, but this works out as most effective and constructive feedback, which is which in result shows that every movie they make is a success. Creative ideas and feedbacks lead to better product. Mistakes are okay because we all make mistakes. There is not that nobody makes mistake. We all make mistake. And we when we ignore mistakes or not willing to learn from them, that's when we get into trouble, because we need to learn from our mistake. If you keep making mistakes after mistakes, nobody is going to take that. But yeah, if you learn from your mistake and next time you do better, you understand before giving your ideas and you have worked on it, that is okay. So creating a psychological safety environment means creating a place where all people's view and experiences are included, and that makes the work stronger. So now I will tell you about the 6 steps. Here are the 6 steps. The first, the 6 steps which makes person feel included at their workplace. So the first one is active listening. So what is active listening? Active listening is like, are you actively listening to me right now? What I'm saying, you know, are you there? Are you understanding what I'm saying? Are you are you giving your 100%, or you just put your laptop up and you're doing something else while listening to me? What exactly it is? So the first and foremost is active listening. So most of the time, people are listening with distractions. What does that mean? They are there, they are physically present, but they're distracted by their laptop, mobile, their WhatsApp, emails, and everything. They're distracted all the time. They are listening, they are there, they are hearing you, but they're not listening you. They're not giving their 100% to listen to you. So for a for a good manager, for a good company, for a leader, it is very important that you set everything aside for a while and listen, because that person has come to you to say something because of some reason. So listen to what the person is saying. Just for a time being, keep your mobile phone off. Nothing will happen in 1 hour or half an hour or 2 hours. And you can always get back to them. There's no problem. But when somebody has come to you, use your body language, open, you are welcoming that person. Yes, you can come and talk to me. Make eye contact. Like right now, if I'm looking at the web screen, uh, you know, in my web camera, you will see that I'm looking at you eye to eye. But then never look at your own picture somewhere, because that looks really bad. So you have to, if you're making an online presentation like this, or you're having an online meeting, focus on the person speaking. So this is very important that you make an eye contact and then you focus on that person whom you're talking to, so that that person understand that yes, she is all present there as a whole. She is there with me, in front of me, listening to my concerns. As a manager, it is very important that you empathize with those people, with your people, because empathize is very important. If someone is speaking to you, so obviously that person has thought about it. That person wants you to listen to her or him. So please give your 100% to the person. Be empathetic towards that person. uh, be humble, be generous, be you, or as a human being also. So you have to be a little, show concern, show that yes, I'm there, I'm listening, I'm 100% there. I've said as no distractions, just not talk about distractions, no distractions at all. You and me in a safe environmental place, we are talking. And then fifth is like you clarify your understanding. So this is so important. You need to check that you are really understanding what someone is trying to say to you, and you're not misunderstanding, because sometimes people have something in their mind and we make wrong assumptions and in a wrong way, that maybe she's trying to say something. No, so ask questions, be very clear about, to ensure that what you are hearing is what they are saying. And the last is rephrase. once you have understood what the person heard what someone has said, by summarizing, you can just summarize it and rephrase it. That is this way you not only showing you heard what the speaker said, but you're also clarifying your understanding and giving them a chance to correct if you are wrong. So you can say, you can just say that, so did I hear that you wanted to say, or do you want in this way, like, sounds like you are not very happy with this thing happening like that, or you wanted something like this. So rephrase it so that you know that whatever you are hearing is exactly what the other person is saying. Next is show understanding of other people's perspective. This is a very important point, to be very true. This is what generally happens in every organization. So if you see the PPT, you will see the ladder of inference on the right side. So show understanding of other people's perspective. So these days we are so wrapped up in our own personal thoughts and judgments that we often miss something fundamental. We fail to empathize and understand other people's perspective and how they see a situation. So how this is related, I'll tell you. This can lead to us assuming the wrong intention of someone's action, thinking you are doing something just to annoy them because they are incompetent. This is not true. This is not the truth. Is that most people are just they're not trying to be a villain to your story. They're just trying to be the hero in their story. A great tool you can use help with the best intent, to understand the best intent, and how we jump from observation, that is select data, if you see on the down and ladder in the last one, select data, to action. How does this happen? So a great tool you can use, this is the great tool that you can use, how observation, it helps us understand a mental process that we go through to come to our conclusion. Often we don't look at the full data when we are observing something, and we turn to interpret on our experiences. So the conclusion, well, that's not always right. For example, this is in this project, supposedly there is this project that you have prepared, and you have been preparing for this project for days. So long, for a very long time you were preparing for a project which you had to present next day morning in front of your boss and the team in your organization. And what happens? Suddenly life comes on a way. Your spouse, who generally drops the kids to school every day, and you see that in the morning he's sick, she's sick, she cannot drive, she cannot go to office and she cannot go to school and drop the kids. What next? Now it is you who have to drop the kids to school and then go to work. So this was unexpected, but this happened. So now you went to the school, you dropped the kids, and what happened ultimately? You were stuck in a traffic jam and you reached there late. What happened? Your boss, who's very particular, who's very disciplined, who doesn't want any delays, is now assuming that you did it for a purpose. She's not checking it with you, she's not asking you. So what happened? So she came to a conclusion by herself that yes, you are incompetent, you're not serious, you're not motivated, you don't want to do it, that is why you got late. No. So so if you see the steps of ladder, we should never climb the ladder of inference ever. We should think, we should pause, we should wait. How do we do that? But what is the ladder of inference? Steps of ladder. The very bottom we see that there's an observed data. So in which means the reality and the facts. In this the fact is that you set up a meeting for project proposal but showed up late for the meeting. Your boss then added meaning to this observation, that you don't care or motivated by interpreting it from her own perspective. Next, she drew a conclusion based on interpreted facts and assumptions. So whatever she had the facts with her, that you came late, that's the only thing that fact matters to her at that moment of time. So she just interpreted that it from her own perspective. Next, she drew a conclusion based on that interpreted fact and assumptions. The conclusion in this scenario was that your project proposal wasn't good or worthy of persuading. These conclusions were then used to reinforce belief, and she took action based on those beliefs, assuming your proposal were not good and not supporting them. Unfortunately, many people have the tendency to climb the ladder of inference and jump to them. jump to the conclusion, and then they make the interpretation, and then they are the final decision has been made that yes, this person is not worthy, I'm not going to give her any projects, I'm not going to approve her projects. So before climbing this ladder of inference, pause, think, what am I doing, why am I doing, what assumptions are you making about the situation, put yourself in that teammate's shoes, understand. You can see this PPT, the one person sees 3 logs of wood, the other person sees 4. Who is right? Both are right in their perspective, both are right, what they see from their perspective is right. So who's wrong? No one is wrong. When it comes to that, we are all humans and we have the fundamental needs and requirements and responsibility and have a purpose to feel accepted and appreciated. So I hope this is very clear, and I've given you the example of how people interpret things without even understanding, or going into other person's shoes and judging them, that what exactly happened with that person, and made their own assumptions, which then the employee doesn't feel included. He or she might think that I was judged, and then there is so much of stress coming along with that. So that person is not psychologically safe, although the things were not done intentionally. The next is be inclusive in interpersonal settings. Now, what is that? We all have our own preferences, and this shows in our working style. How we work. We need to learn about your team personal style and accommodate these styles in a way you work. Let me give you an example. Let's say you work on a global organization with employee across the world. You have a regular team meeting and large group of maybe 50 people in this meeting, and someone offers him a microphone. The colleague rejects. He says, no, don't worry, I've got a loud voice, you don't have to, I don't need a mic. However, if you are impaired, you can't hear properly, if you're ever impaired hearing and you find it difficult what he's saying, you struggle the entire meeting trying to understand what the person was saying. As a result, you didn't get to observe much of the information. You didn't get what that person is, and maybe your other colleagues also had the same kind of problem in listening. In cases like these, people often feel comfortable speaking up and sharing up the group what accommodates they would need. See, so are you listening? Are you able to hear what I am saying? Are you able to concentrate, or am I being too fast? Maybe I am being too fast. So should I stop and take a pause and you know try to explain things in a better way? Or is it like, is it okay? So being accommodative of everybody's need, without making any person feel that you are left out, or you don't include, you're not included. So everybody else who were able to hear the meeting, whatever was agenda was discussed, they were in other team, and those who were not able, they were left out. A lot of such cases has happened in a large classrooms also, where teachers are speaking on the loud, they get problem, they literally had to shout. Still some students are not able to hear properly. There could be some problem with them, or there could be some other problem, or the other noises which are coming from outside that they're not able to hear clearly. So in that case, it is not the fault of the student if he misses or if she misses something that he has been told in a lecture. So let's make a norm. In any organization, I would expect every leader to make a norm. What is a norm? A norm that you have to follow this while having a conference or a meeting. So it is compulsory, it is necessary that you have to speak on a microphone when you're attending such kind of meeting, conducting such kind of meeting. And if you are not able to if you're not do not have a microphone, if the things are not available, reschedule it, but make sure that everybody is able to listen to what you are trying to say. That makes people feel included. Yes, I was also able to listen to what they were saying. So you can ask your employee, you can ask them, how do you like to work? Make a norm. You'd like to work in an open office, or do you want a separate corner so to concentrate? Some people cannot work in a lot of loud voices, whereas some people are able to work on loud voices. Like some people can sleep even if the TV is on, and some people cannot sleep even if there is a slight small light blinking, or a noise is there from outside, from insects or birds and all. So there are different kind of people, there are different kind of needs. You need to make sure that you accommodate everybody's need in your office norm. Create whatever it needs so that they can give their 100%. Make it comfortable, make it a second home for them. Make them inclusive of the interpersonal settings. Another great way to learn about individual preferences have in your team is to a personality assessment check. So a lot of tools are there in website where you can see how a personality assessment is done. So, but finally it is a good idea to work with your team as a group to establish working norms to how you will engage with each other in a way which is inclusive for everyone and make everyone psychologically safe. Apart from this, you can also share the agenda before going for a meeting so that you know, if you just tell them what agenda it is, the people feel yeah, I am involved. I know what I have to speak, so that they're prepared. So everybody feels included, and let people know that they can add anything if they need it. They can come up to you. So once you do the brainstorming, next documents the norms you have come up with, share them back with your team. So hold yourself accountable that you are following your norms. It should not be that you made a norm and then everything goes way by. Print the norm, put it in your offices, cabins, or you can also just hand over a printout to your employee, that these are the norms and you have to follow these. Make a norm, make a way of working, a comfortable way of working, so that everybody feels inclusive in the workplace. So be inclusive in decision making. What does that mean? When you're making a decision, or if you're making a decision, make sure that your people are involved, they feel included. So a huge factor of psychological safety is ensuring that people feel safe when that their voice is heard and they have ownership over the work that they do as a manager. The way you and your team makes a decision places a huge factor on their ownership and empower your employee. This is a graph that you see on the right side, shows the type of decisions you can make as a leader and whether you are prioritizing the task or the development of the people in your team. The top half of the graph shows directive and consultative decision that represents decisions where task is a priority, and the bottom half of the graph showing delegates and consensual decisions represent priority. Let's look at all the styles where decision making is a priority. If directive decisions, the manager makes the decision and shares with the team. He has made the decision, so he's already made the decision and he's not sharing with the team. In consultative decisions, the manager involves the team in the decision making process, as consulting provides inputs and ideas, but ultimately owns decisions, determines the team to go. So he takes everybody's inputs, he consults everyone, but the ultimate decision is to be made by the leader only or by the manager. On the bottom of the graph, we have decision making styles where the priority is developing your team's skill. In delegative decision making, you delegate the decision making to the employee and empower them a path forward. In consensual decision, the managers and the team members are equally involved in the decision making process, working together for consequences on what direction they will go. In an ideal world, all decisions will be delegative or consensual to give your employee opportunity to development. But the fact is, we sometimes need to move quickly, so we don't have the leeway to involve all the perspectives in decision making. All four types of decision making have a very important role in our work culture, and as a manager, the most important thing is to communicate what kind of what kind of decision making process your team is engaging to. Suppose whatever you're choosing up of all these four, which one is are you going with? So but even if you take a directive measure in your company, you have already made a decision and you're going with it. Be informative, tell them why you have made that decision, whatever you have made. It is very important for them to know, and why have you made that decision. And when you go ahead with the delegative, make sure that you don't put your favorite employees the privilege of having the decision making in the decision making format. Be sure that everybody is included. You cannot just take few people, your few favorite ones, and involve them only in the decision making. Involve everybody. It's a team effort. So this is what is important. However, we always focus, and we should always focus on consensual decisions if we have the time, but not every time we have time, so we can go with it. Then share airspace in making decisions. This means that not every decision you make should reside on the left side of the graph. You should aim for balanced type of decision to share airspace with your team and empower them. It also means it balances who on your team you are asking to help you make a decision. Just that it's not so inclusive to make sole person decision making in for your team. It is not inclusive to select handful, as I said, of your employee to make those decisions. Share the airspace with everyone. Give everybody opportunity. Share the space with them. Share the context with them. What does that mean? You should tell your team to grow. You have to grow together. You have to grow as a team. It's important to give them background for why a decision needs to be made, where and who the decision will impact, and what has already happened in the project report. So if you're supposedly giving a project report, or you want your employees to take it further, you have to give them that kind of context. कि अभी तक क्या हुआ था, what happened till date. No, that is also known as knowledge transfer in a lot of IT industry and other places. It's called knowledge transfer, where a new person come and you give them the context. If you do not give them the context, or whatever had happened earlier, how do you expect them to give their 100%? Share metrics. What does that mean? Sharing your metrics means that you drive the decision making. What are you optimizing for? What is the revenue? Talk in digits, talk in numbers. What are you focusing on? The most important thing is to always share why you are making a decision, whatever you're making, and what is at stake. By sharing why, you are making your team better understanding objectives you are trying to achieve, and giving them the information they need to do their own best. Okay, so next is about lead with compassion and authenticity. This is very important, and I think most of us already know about what it is. Leading with compassion and authenticity. You lead with an example. You lead with your own true self. By being inclusive in decision making, you have established trust with your team. Trusting team have other characteristics as well, including vulnerable with each other, share in success and failure, and taking risk. By modeling these qualities, you can encourage your team to do the same and show that they are safe to do that too. This is quite scary for many leaders. For most of us, we are not where we are what we do not where we are by doing the best in our jobs, or by toughening things, the things when we are hard and aiming to it every time. So truth and courage aren't always comfortable, but they are not only our weaknesses, as said by Brené Brown. You can read that on the PPT that I have just shared with you. When we show that only one side of ourselves, the tough side, the successful side, the one that, yeah, I can do it, I'm doing it, I'm successful, so you're only showing the half truth. Being on a successful area, or being successful, being on that platform, you have definitely come across failures, mistakes, challenges, struggles, doubts. And sharing this with your team is not only encouraging them, but also empowering them. Why? How? Because they feel that yet if he can make a mistake, if he has also made mistake, it is okay if I make a mistake. So you have to be 100% authentic in whatever you're doing. Why? Because if you're authentic, if you are true to yourself, you are true to your employee, they will also have a feeling that, yes, I can also be myself. I can also be true to my company. There, nobody will judge me. I can take a risk. I can do this. Just be your authentic self. If you are being your true self, if you are saying to everybody that, yes, I made a mistake, it just means that you are telling people that it is okay to make a mistake, and nobody is going to judge you. And because a lot of times you will see that people try to hide their mistake. We all make mistake, but we try to hide it because we feel uncomfortable sharing with them, because we feel that we'll be judged, we'll be given names. Don't do that. But yes, keep some kind of privacy. If there is something, if something some mistake in your life you have made where other peoples were also involved, So please do not talk about other people. Don't be a bad mouth. Don't try to play a blame game. But don't do that. That will not be helpful in a long way. But yes, um, share your authentic self. Share your compassion with your people. Compassion for your work, for your own self, so that they also know what is important. So that when they go back to home, they are happy when they go home to their family. Turn difficult situation into brave conversation. This is extremely important. Why? I have seen a lot of people, they get scared before going for an interview. I get, when I do my life coach, because I do one to one, also on an individual basis. A lot of people come to me before the interview, or before they are going to get a rise, or for their annual meeting for the performance and everything. 66% people feel stressed about this, that what is going to happen. They can't sleep. They can't sleep. They are having anxious. They're getting anxious. They're getting stressed. They don't know what to do. They're not comfortable. They are dealing with a very difficult time. So this is about where you turn your difficult situation into a brave conversation. And how do we do that? We may not be able to be comfortable with the subject at hand. Our emotions can be difficult to contain. We might be worried about screwing up difficult things and making it a problem for us. But the price of not having these conversations is even higher. So as Peter Bromberg said, when we avoid difficult conversations, we trade small term discomfort for long term dysfunctions. Avoiding difficult conversation to track the psychological safety of the team, because team members feel that they cannot talk openly about their problems and issues they want to discuss, cluster, or go unresolved. So what happened, that they want to discuss something but they are not able to discuss. It is in their clustered in their mind. They're just piling it up one over the other, and nothing happening. They're just piling it up. They want to say something because they think that it is a difficult situation. Because it is a difficult conversation, I can't go and talk to my seniors. Then that is wrong. So how do we make a difficult conversation into a brave conversation? Prepare yourself before going. Prepare yourself. Preparation is an absolute key to success. Think about what you want to say in the conversation. What conversation is it about? What is your partner? Ask them about the time and date and place where they can have a conversation with you, and where you can speak comfortably. Then establish a psychological safety. What does that mean? Not that we are talking about this from last few minutes. So we understand that there is no psychological safety between you and your partner. Your conversation will not be successful because it is only one sided. You're just saying it, you're not hearing it, or the person is just hearing it, but you're going out of your track and not talking about the things, what you need to talk. Third is, which is very important, is that remember your goal. You always keep in mind what your goal is. Don't let the conversation veer off. If you feel that the person is going, he's the person that the person who's talking to you is going, started something, and then that person is talking about something else. Wait a minute, you're losing a track. We'll talk about that later. Just say that we'll talk, pause a little, we'll talk about that later. And then you can restart the conversation on the main topic that the person wanted to speak to you. Seek clarification. Don't assume that you are understanding everything. Seek clarification. Repeat the whatever she or he has said, and understand that, is this what you want to say? Are you sure about this? Is my understanding okay? Am I understanding what you are trying to say? And last, speak your truth and accept others' truth. In a brave conversation, it is important to own what you are saying. Rely on your direct personal experiences and observations rather than those you have heard from others. Don't assume things. Don't think that this person was being, somebody told me that this person is not right for the job, so he's not right. Don't go into that assumptions. Make your own assumptions. Not even assumptions, make your own research. Learn about that person. If you disagree on something, that is also okay. It is quite possible. You're not going to agree to everybody and everything. But remember, we all are motivated by a similar needs at fundamental level, and each person experiences are valid because they're our own self. Having a vulnerable conversation takes courage. It is not easy, but it is so worth it. Use these ways to have a conversation a success. So these were the ways where you can make your inclusion to belonging. Now, what is belonging? How do we make people feel belonging? So belonging, as I said, is very personal. So first of all, I would discuss about recognition versus appreciation. We all know what recognition is. You can see the slide and you can see this picture about recognition, where a person is being awarded about something. You do something good in a team, you are being given an award. That is recognition. Or you are being given a certificate or an award or something. So that is recognition. But when it comes to belonging, appreciation is much needed. Where in appreciation, you do not you do not just recognize the work that is being done. You celebrate that person who has done that work. You how do we do appreciation? Recognition is very simple. A company gives an award and everything, everybody claps and they go home. But when a token of appreciation comes from your managers, when they send you a little note, and you can also, if possible, you can also give them, a movie tickets as an appreciation or something, so that it creates a memory for them. They are feel so close when their own managers or their own team members or their own seniors come or take a way forward, not as a company or something, but as an individual. They come forward and they appreciate your work. That kind of token of appreciation is very important, because then the person feel that, yes, I belong here. See, he noticed it. See, he did that to me. So that kind of motivation is very, very important. If the person is belonging is the most important aspect of psychological safety. If the person doesn't feel belonged, then it's no use, because ultimately it has to lead there. The psychological safety is only possible if the person feels that he or she belongs to the team, belongs to the family, belongs to a society. Only then a psychological safety is there. How do we create psychological safety? So there is a way called you can have this employee resource groups. Every company, most of the companies in, like in Delhi in India, they have these groups. What groups are these? You can create any kind of group. If you have an organization and there are a lot of people, so you can create groups like a cycle group, a chess group, a mountain climbing group, or a female, girls group or something like that. How will this help? So if there are so lot of people from different verticals in a company, they come and join. What happens is that people not only get associated with the group members of the team, he or she also get associated with other vertical people also. So they are feel like home. They know everybody. So it's more important to have an employee resource groups, which is very, very important to have in any organization. In any organization, at least one, two, three, it is very important, where you're not working, but you're doing something together. It can be anything, but you're doing it together. So that makes a sense of feelings belong, because you are doing it. That belonging is very, very important. So what happens really when a psychological safety attack plays? It creates an innovative environment. How? People are safe, and because they are safe, they come up with their innovative experiences, ideas, and they share it. Employees tend to remain quite based on factors such as ignorance, incompetence, intrusion, and fear of insecurity. They feel that whatever they will say might not be approved, or might not be okay with the company. So if you create an environment, innovative, how it creates an innovative environment, because this in turn steals the organization of essential innovation, movements, improvements, experiments, and collective learning. In psychologically safe culture, employees overcome this kind of anxiety and stress, which profoundly facilitates progress towards mutual goals. Therefore, a healthy environment is created when the perceived risk of speaking up is low, which is critical for organization to learn, adopt, improve, and innovate. It encourages collaboration. Psychological safety helps ensuring that employee, despite being of different role designation function, do not feel competitive and try to outperform each other. Instead, as a culture helps to develop healthy interpersonal relationship and work in collaboration towards achieving the same goal, which is the company's goal. Then inculcate active participation. Team members are able to see that their opinion matters, and they're permitted to take decisions or make decisions in their areas of expertise. This creates a grave incentive for them to actively get involved in all initiatives of their own will. They will foster loyalty in employees towards the organization. They are happier and satisfied, which eventually makes them more effective at whatever work they are doing. Then there is they foster commitment, because if there are companies that foster psychological safety are able to create higher level of engagement and performance among employees. It is a win-win situation for both the organization and the employee, and it has a dramatic effect on the mental well-being of the members and enables them to contribute significantly to the work place. It also empowers employee to enjoy their work vastly and develop higher commitment towards their goal. So it is really important to have a psychological safety. If the psychological safety is there in your organization, people will feel comfortable. They will feel like, yes, I can, this is just my second home. I am free to do whatever I can do, and I'm free to speak my mind, to take risks, to go ahead. Last but not the least, we will talk about this, the roadmap to psychological safety. How do we, as leaders, go about establishing this fragile element? So there are 5 ways you can create. This is a roadmap. Include everyone, inculcate a safe place, no room for fear, don't be afraid to admit mistakes, always be available. This is very in very basic thing which we can inculcate in our company and organizations, and we can go ahead with the having a psychological safety environment in our companies. Okay, I hope you people enjoyed my and liked my session as much I enjoyed being here with you. I'm really sorry for the delay today. Although, so if there any question, you can please put it up on our chat box. I'm here to answer.
Yeah, I think there were some questions in question and answer section. Are you able
Okay.
to see that, ma'am? Or shall I read it for you?
Just read it for me, please.
Yes. So the question is, ma'am, is it necessary to have sense of belonging to have complete psychological safety?
Yes, it is very important. It is, and belonging, feeling belonged is both ways. It is not only that if you are going to a school, it is very important that you also give yourself to the school. Like, yes, I belong here. If you are just being, aloof, and you are not giving your 100%, you're not happy. If you wake up in the morning and you're not happy to go to your workplace, because you don't feel belong there. That is what happens. You must have seen in a lot of cases people are not happy going to their workplace in the morning. There a lot of people are in the stress before going to the office or to the workplace or to their school or to their colleges, because they don't feel belong there. Belonging is the key for the psychological safety of any organization, of any workplace.
Right. Then we have another question. Hope that solves your problem. Yeah. Ma'am, example of equity in educational institutes.
In an educational institutes.
Example of
Okay,
equity.
okay. So supposingly there is some children who have a weak eyesight. Can a school or an educational school can help them, or then give them a special thing to come and sit on a forefront, in the forefront seat, if they can't see properly? So that is like, being in a classroom is giving an equal opportunity for the lecture that the students are attending. But giving those that who cannot see properly or cannot hear properly can be given a place to be the front seaters, the 3-4 seats, the 3-4 lanes, so that they can see and hear clearly, which is very important. Because in schools and schools and colleges and these places, we don't use mic. Mostly we don't use mic for lectures and all.
Right,
So
right.
there must be problem, yeah, or they cannot see so clearly on the in the blackboard. This is what can be done.
Then there's another one. A lot of times, people or organizations try to create an environment of belongingness, but you just don't feel the same way. Maybe because of ideological differences. How to deal with that situation?
See, the company is giving you a platform for a sorry, for this psychological safety, and they are giving you a sense of belonging. It is quite, see, every individual is different. As I said, belonging is personal. Why? Because it may be different for you and it may be different for me and for the person who has put up. You have to open up. You can't expect anybody else to open up for you. They have given you a platform. I have given you the food to eat. It is kept on the table. You have to come and take it, na? Nobody is going to put it on your mouth. You have to make the courage. You have to take those steps. Yes, it is personal because maybe in your childhood you were told that no, you should not go and eat at somebody's house without even asking them. Even if they offer, when we were kids, we were told, even if somebody offers you something, don't go and have it just like that. Say no first. You remember when we were children, we were taught that say no, don't go and eat it
Yeah,
because we were a line was drawn. Remove that line. Don't feel the hitch. Nobody is, you have to go and eat it. Nobody is going to put it in your mouth. Be outgoing. Feel the belonging. Talk to people. Get involved. That is the basic thing.
yeah. So the next is, can we have employee side to tackling issues where employee feels non-inclusion and belongingness in organization?
Sorry, I didn't get you.
So can we have employee side of tackling issues where employee feels non-inclusion and belongingness in organization? Somewhat similar
Yes.
question.
Yes, you can. You can have your own team also. It is not necessary that you need to have a manager all the time for understanding you. Within the team also, you will always get, if there is a team of 10, 15 people, at least you will click with one. That is for sure. Even if you click for with one, you are always looking forward. I don't know, like the now everything is online. How many kids are actually missing the school? My son is missing the school. He's saying, I want to go to school. I'm tired of this because he felt that sense of belonging there. So, and it is not that he feels he's missing his teachers. Mind you, he's not missing his teachers. He's missing his friends. Missing his friends more than anything. So it is when you feel included, be a child. Bring out that child in you. Be a child. Gel with people. You will automatically start feeling belong there. You will start automatically start feeling like going to work with a happy face.
Yeah. So the next one. Does appreciation means to give token in writing?
Yes, you can give that. There is no problem. Even in fact, if you give a handwritten note, uh, you know it's going back to basics.
Yeah.
Don't write an email, just give a surprise, send something. It's believe me, even we have become so technical friendly and now technology is like our right side a hand and write this and that. Believe me, even today a note of appreciation with your handwriting can beat nothing.
I agree. Agree.
This is so important.
So the next one, difficult conversations sometimes end up in failure. Not every time, but yes, at times. Is there a way to buy back the pre-talk situation if the difficult conversation end up in a failure?
I am sorry, I didn't get you. It's cracking. Your voice is cracking.
Okay, I'll repeat it to you.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
difficult conversations sometimes end up in failure. Not every time, but yes, at times.
Yes, yes,
So,
yes.
is there a way to buy back the pre-talk situation if the difficult conversation ends up in a failure?
Yes, it is quite possible that that you wanted to have a conversation. There was a difficult conversation that happened and it ended as a failure. There can be a lot of reasons for it. Like, the person that you're talking to has already assumed that what you are going to say is wrong only. So he's not ready to listen to what you are trying to say. Go to the other person. Try to rephrase, reschedule the meeting, not in office, maybe outside somewhere, but go ahead and talk. It is never late. It is never late to talk about what you feel. A difficult situation conversation will become successful if you give your 100%. Just prepare yourself, and just be more focused on what exactly you're talking about. Generally, what happens, people divert from one to second. Oh, I get late in the office, but my manager is not understanding. She can give me an hour, late by, I'll reach by 9. Okay, I'll leave after 1 hour. So my manager, talk it out to the right person. Maybe you're talking to the wrong person. It is a win-win situation. It is not possible that it will fail. Yes, it might fail first. Try again. There's no problem in trying again. Not at all. In fact, maybe the situation has changed. There's a gap in 3 months. The person now knows you better. Go ahead. Please go ahead.
Right. Okay, moving on to the next one. How can lower level employees build inclusion?
Lower level. Okay. So, if you are in a lower level, make a group of your own people. Make a group of your own people. You are not the only lower one. There's a hierarchy in every company. Make a group. Like I said, the ERGs. Make a group. Whatever you like. Maybe chess group or something, and then you can stay 1 hour after the office hours in the office, and you play a game. Nobody's going to stop you. Make a group. That is what I say. Then you start feeling belonging. You have to make group of your own people. When I say your own people, I mean by experience, by your profile, or by your education background, or by your anything. You can do that. Make a group. You will start feeling belonging. It is a very simple thing. It is also how much you are giving to the organization. In the sense means, if you are okay, you come up with an idea. Na? Don't feel that I cannot come. Make a group. You started. Be a leader. You are very happy to make a WhatsApp group, admin banna, but you don't want to do it in your office. Do that. Make a WhatsApp group in your office. Talk to people. You believe me, this will give you a very good sense of belonging.
Okay, the next one is nowadays, what do you think companies and institutions are giving a sense of security to employees?
See, companies, and if I talk about India, yeah, companies and institutions, no, not all. Equity and diversity, everybody is following. But when it comes to feeling included and giving them the feeling of belonging, that is lacking. Why I say so is that according to a research, a lot of people who go home after the work, they are not, they're not in a very happy zone. They're worried, they're tense. They go home, they want their own time. 5 minutes, just leave me alone. 10 minutes, just leave me alone. I'm very tired. This should not happen. You're going from one home to another home. Why should you be tensed? That should not be there. So I really agree that yes, in India, a lot of people are not following inclusion and belonging because they feel that they are competent with each other. Believe me, there's nothing like that. If you're good at something, nobody can make you a failure. Nobody can judge you. There's no right for anybody to judge you or give you a sense of this thing that you cannot do it. Everybody can do everything. Whatever you're good at, you are good at. So please, yes, this is the true that inclusion. And like, I'll give you an example if you have time. I got a call from one of my client from Canada, and she said to me that she can use a laptop now. There's no problem. What does that mean? So her daughter was to attend online classes for a grade 5, and the school made sure that the girl has a laptop. So the mother said yes, she uses my laptop. There's no problem. You won't believe. Next day the school went with the principal. They went and dropped the iPad to the girl. They said keep it until the school reopens. Just imagine the kind of feeling that they're giving to the school, that if you do not have it, we don't want the mother to get affected by the work that she is doing. So they gave the pad to the daughter to attend online classes. Is this happening in India?
No.
Are we feeling that we belong? Are we feeling inclusive? People are selling things to buy a mobile for their online classes for their children. You must have seen the news. So yes, there is a requirement for feeling inclusive and belonging. It's really much required.
So, next question is difficult. So is there a way to identify if a person is not feeling psychologically safe?
Yes. First important thing is body language of that person. From body language of a person, you can understand if that person is not feeling safe. If that person doesn't talk to other people, remains aloof, and goes for tea alone, or goes take a break, and but he wants to be alone, or he's only on his mobile, or what will happen ultimately, that person will look for another job or another place to go, because he's not feeling comfortable. But you can make it out very easily with the body language that of that person. That thing should be big. If you are a leader, if you are a manager, that quality needs to be in you. That is the need of an hour, that you understand. If you not understand your own people, how do you expect them to give their 100% to you?
So the next one. Sometimes we don't receive proper recognition in spite of our hard work and efforts. We feel depressed. How to overcome?
Yeah, there are companies who do not give you recognition that you deserve. um, yes, you have a choice. You can talk to your, first of all I would say that talk, if everything is okay, you are psychologically safe in that environment, you feel that okay, fine, it's not given, it is okay with me, I'm getting the money, I'm okay with that, fine. But I would suggest, go ahead and talk to your manager, to your seniors. Tell them your concern. Ask them why that I am putting my 100%. In spite of that, I am not being recognized. I'm not being appreciated. Not even a word of appreciation. How do you expect me to work on that circumstances? Here's a question. Talk to them. Still, if they're not able to understand your concern, or they're not able to change how the way they are working. A lot of time people think, believe me, in India or in a lot of organizations, they think that अगर ये ज़्यादा चढ़ गया तो ये मेरी सीट ले जाएगा. This person will go and sit in my profile, and he'll take my seat. A lot of people are insecure. Because of that, they do that. It is their problem. It is not your problem. It is their problem that they feel insecure. You are not. If you are better than them, you are better than them. Either you can accept it and go with a smile, or talk to them, or better still, if you are still not happy, if it really makes you feel sad, you can look for other opportunities.
So then we have a next one. Can we say that employee engagement and psychological safety are directly connected?
No, employee engagement can be on anything. It can be on project also, no? You are engaging your team into a project. Psychological safety is when you're going out of there, on a level where you're making them mentally feel okay. Are you stressed out in your work? Are you stressed because of work, or are you stressed because of the members on the team? These are two different things. You can be stressed about your work. That is okay. It is okay. It's a part of work. Sometimes you're stressed. But are you stressed of the other person in that organization? Maybe your teacher, some teacher that you're not comfortable with, or your senior you're not comfortable with, your manager you're not. So there is the difference. Psychological safety is where you feel that I'm okay, I'm my second home.
Yeah.
So engaging can be anything. You can engage employee for anything.
Right. Okay, the next one is what to do when you feel that you don't belong to any group in your institution.
Make
In
your
your
own group.
inside this group.
Make your own group.
Yeah.
Go ahead. There are many people like you. See, you will find many. Go ahead, talk to them, make your own group.
Yeah. So the next one is out of four decision making style, which is more beneficial or for inclusion feeling?
See, for style in the sense means which one are they talking about? The inclusion style?
For decision making style.
Sorry?
For decision making style, which is more beneficial for inclusion feeling.
Okay. Uh, Active listening is very important. You should be there. Listen is head. Okay, I'm getting questions there also. Okay, I think something popped up. Anyways, we'll just continue how we are doing it. So yes, active listening is very important. Your physical presence, you have to make the other person comfortable, like like your own baby, like your own child. Like why? Yeah, this person. If you are not going to talk to somebody, just because you have to talk, you choose somebody to talk, right? in an individual level also, if somebody comes and talks to me as a life coach or as an individual, so that person knows that yes, I will understand, I will do something, I'll give my 100% to the situation that person is facing. Active listening is the most important. Then being in a decision making, uh, it is very important that you include everyone. Inclusion is very important. You include everyone, you take the approval from everyone, you take everybody's say. Everybody's say is very important. Your say, this person, whatever, whoever is there. And if you don't have time, you can also ask them to write their say and share it with you as a team. And then you can just pile up together in a meeting and talk about it. So if you tell them that I am thinking about doing this, please share your feedback. So this is very, making everybody including everybody is also very important.
I hope that all the questions have been answered and the participants at least have themselves now. And ma'am, it was a very informative session. And thank you so
Okay,
much.
thank you.
Thank you so very much for being a part of this online platform and sharing your content with us. And I hope that like all the question and answers are also being answered and the participants are also satisfied enough with the answers. Thank you so much, ma'am, for the answers as well. So, ma'am has
Thank
already
you.
shared her email address and phone number and website also on the screen. So, it would be better for us if you can just move and you can just, I think, connect with ma'am in future also. If you face any kind of issues, I hope so. Ma'am.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for joining, and I think that we can continue. Yes, I think ma'am, you can stop. Yes, you have already stopped. And
Yeah.
if any other message, ma'am, that you want to convey to the participants.
Uh, yes, the one thing that really want to say is that we always, as an Indians, as an individual, we always have a hitch. We draw a line that we cannot cross. That is it good that we ask for help? Please go ahead. कोई मार नहीं डालेगा. Please go ahead. Ask for help. Ask whatever you need. What will happen? The person will say no. What else? But what if he says yes? Believe me, in my life coach sessions where I've seen 90% it has turned into yes. Go ahead and ask. The only problem is that we draw our own line and we think that no, this is not going to happen. Go talk it out. Solve the issue. Feel belonged from yourself also. A lot of people think that I'm a minority. Supposedly, I will not, they wouldn't adjust. Don't have those fears. Just go ahead, live your life to the fullest and enjoy your work. Love your work. Celebrate your work.
Yes,
Thank you
ma'am.
so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. You have taught all of us to be like we have to just first of all celebrate ourselves, our work, and then we should think of anybody else that they will also give some like award to us. Once first we have to just think that we are doing good for ourselves. And
Okay, there was one question which was actually I just saw that if
okay.
somebody in your organization or any head of company like manager, seniors harasses two women by biologically and by physically, but the employee is not able to give answer to him due to job security. So what should they do to tolerate them? Seniors also have seniors. Please go ahead, raise your issue. Please don't take this. This is wrong. Leave the job. Tell the person you trust, tell your husband, tell your brother, whoever you can, tell them what is happening before going to a police or something. Make sure that it is solved in a personal level. Seniors also have seniors. Why job security? You will, if you are good at your work, you will get the job wherever you can, wherever you want. There is no problem with that. But please raise an issue. Please do not take this easy, because being a woman, I will always, I'm a feminist, and that is why I took an extra time to read that question, because when I was reading it, I was feeling hurt. I was also going through, I was putting myself in that person's shoes and being inclusive. I'm just telling you, please go ahead, talk to somebody in your home where you can trust him, tell him about it. Seniors also have seniors. Go ahead and talk. Write an email to that person that I am getting this, so that you have it in writing also, that you are trying to, raise the topic. You don't, do not take this, please. This is just not appreciated.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, ma'am.
Chalo. Bye. Have a nice day.
Bye. Thank you, ma'am. Same to you. So for all the participants, there's a message that for the next session with Dr. Munshi, we'll be running in another 10 to 15 minutes. So you can just go and have your lunch quickly and then we'll have the next session. And for 10-15 minutes, we are just on a break and you can just join it back or you can just put it on a hold for now and then you can just join. Any other questions that you have, you can just put in the chat box or in the Q&A section.
Which Hi everyone, I hope you're already there. So I just need to announce something that we have to postpone this session because our speaker is not able to connect to us, so his audio is not able to connect it. So we'll be postponing the session and we'll intimate you about the timings of the session. Also, we have the next session tomorrow at 9:15 a.m. So please be there. I hope you got this thing. Those who have not attended, I'll be posting this message on the WhatsApp group as well. And we'll be intimating you about this session when will it be. Thank you for joining in. So I'm ending the session for today.